For furnace air week. Did a furnace air yesterday. We're doing another one here today. We're in Spring Lake Park. We got air cleaner boot there, a plenum. 90% change out. 3-ton air for a 3-ton air. We got a air cleaner, 4-inch, 20 by 25, and we're gonna get going on this. All right, here's the AC location. We've got one pipe system here, which is barely far enough away from that window. That should be 4 feet away from that window. We should probably add an intake pipe. That way we can be 1 foot from the window. I'm going to pump this down, get it out of here, get the new one set, run a new line set. Checking out this space, this vent goes out here. Barely got enough pitch on that pipe there. And then we got room to drill a new intake pipe over there, so heating up out here. I guess we had a little leak at the coil there, huh? Corey's down there ripping and tearing. We're swapping jobs today. I'm doing outside, he's doing inside. Got to get him to learn more aspects of the job. So I'm going to set this pad here. Oh, I'm drilling my hole. I just took a phone call. I forgot what I was even doing. Can hear Corey on there. So I'm going to finish drilling that intake and set my AC, get the line set ran. Okay, we got the furnace room all cleaned up. We got this nightmare return that was cut into the back of that boot, so somehow we got to make that work again. New control going on the humidifier. If this transformer's hot, we'll just use that for our humidifier, because that's just sitting there unused. That must be a doorbell. Drilling this hole for the line set. We got a cable wire coming through there. I don't want to disconnect the cable, so I'm just drilling as close to these wires as possible. So I got a big enough hole to run a line set. Alright, so this aluminum wire is not good. You got to make sure you put that when you're going aluminum into anything, you want to put that lube on there. I can't remember what it's called. I got some in the truck. But if you don't, and especially this one had a compressor replaced at some point, and then they got, fuses are blowing. That looks dry in there to me as well. So we're going to want to lube up those connections, make sure they're tight. Just got to be careful. You don't want to put a brand new system in to a situation that's compromised with loose wires and arcing and whatever. Okay, I got my pad set here. I'm going to slide the unit in, mark the line set on this corner of the pad right here. And then I'll slide it back, run a line set, cut it to length, slide it back in, solder it up. Going to want to always check your fuse size here. We got maximum fuse of 30, minimum 18, so fuses need to be a 20 or a 30. There's our fuses there. So we'll get some 30s out of the truck. Probably going to need some fuse reducers. I don't think I got any big fuses. So this oxguard is what we need to put on our aluminum wires when we terminate them in a panel or anything. When aluminum goes to copper, we need to put that on there. And we got a 20 amp breaker in the panel here, so we really could just put, you know, copper in the disconnect out there if we wanted to, because 20 amp is all we need. But I'm going to turn this off so I can go out there and put my oxguard on. I'm actually going to take this apart and put some oxguard on this end too, because I don't, with that old unit going through compressors, I just want to be safe. Corey's got the furnace ready to go in here. He's sealing it up. Got that hole cut for that return back there. Just put my finger down and butchered it on this drop. Bleeding. What? Bleeding. Make a mental note of where this heat exchanger is when we drill our holes for our
static.
Okay. Okay, we're ready to slide her in. Now we're going to put the coil on here now in our plenum and then slide it in.
Yep.
We might want to almost do that top connection and then just drop down the plenum once it's all set in place and just tape it.
We can do that.
That way we wouldn't have to fight that connection up there. What do you think about that?
We can do that.
That 20 amp has copper wires going to it there. So that can't be my AC. It must be this one up here with the aluminum wires. That looks like my wire in the panel out there. Yeah, definitely. That's definitely my AC going out right there. Goes up here and then right out to the air. So I'm going to put that oxguard on these aluminum wires right here and make sure they're tight. As I was that far into it, I figure I might as well just downgrade that breaker to a 30. That way I can just put copper in the disconnect, the pull out part of it, and don't need to worry about fuses and reducers and all that. And we just have a non-fused disconnect. If something happens, it'll blow the breaker. That was part of the problem. They had I don't know what the size was on that old unit, but okay, so the saver switch guys came in here and coupled this together here. So that's a compromised connection there, possibly going to our whip, which is why they always come on into the AC nowadays, and they can't get blamed for anything like what's going on here. That was a horrible connection, so I'm going to oxguard that up and put it right onto my bottom of my disconnect here. And same with this one. They didn't have the saver switch hooked up when I got here anyway, so yeah, no, that's an aluminum connector though, or I don't know, I'm not sure what that is. It could be steel. Looks aluminum though. Line set was hanging up on that main electrical pipe going in, so yeah, because that LB right there elbows down right past our line set on the inside, so our insulation was hanging up. It's not very slippery. That's the one bad thing about this new line set. It's kind of sticky, so wasn't letting it slide past that 2-inch schedule 40 there. So we're gonna have to take the insulation off and feed it back on in like 5-foot sections. Probably cut that up into 3 pieces once we get it in and slide it back on. We're gonna eat lunch. Gradual bend in there by hand today, no tubing bender. So I'll shove the unit in, get the nitrogen flowing and solder it up after I pull the Schrader valves, of course, and wrap it with rags and spray it with the thermal trap gel. Here we go. Nitrogen flowing. Give it a good blast so it's through there. Back it down to about 3 or 4 psi, and got got my big line all ready to solder over here. And it's flowing nitrogen. Then we'll move the line over to here and solder the little one. Then we'll go solder the coil in. Pressure test. Put that much pressure on there about 20 minutes ago. Just checking my loop through the coil. So we're going to call that good. Bust this loose here and pull a vacuum for 20 minutes. Okay, so when you're vacuuming, every vacuum pump's different. This one's got to open and close, some of them don't have that. You got your window here for your oil. You want to change your oil after every evacuation. Make sure you just sit level. And then middle point that vent at the house, sometimes that'll blow oil out of there and you're not all over the homeowner's siding. Gauges, you want to make sure they're open, so because that yellow, if you close this valve all the way, now that shuts off the yellow from the blue, so you want to make sure that's open, so you're pulling a vacuum through the blue, make sure that one's open, and you're pulling a vacuum through the red. And you can see we're in a vacuum state by the look of the gauges. So we're going to vacuum for about 20 minutes. We're going to cut the charge loose, unleash my insulation, let that fall back down here. Try and tidy up this mess here. Zip tie my outdoor sensor on for my humidifier, probably underneath the line set if I can, so it's out of any sun that might hit it, although it's a pretty shady side of the house. And then thumb gum my hole there. Wire, I'm gonna wire this baby up. Make sure I use my oxguard on my aluminum wires. Again, you can see how bad that one was, where it was, who knows what was happening there. Got her all wired. Thumb gum. Vacuum, we'll just let it run here for a while. Corey's got her wired, I'll come out and cut her loose. We got our thermometer on the high side line there, ready to check our subcooling, which should be 11 degrees. And we'll be back. Along in here, Corey took inside today and I did outside. Looks like he still didn't put his cover on the electrical. And he's been working on this damn thing. Those take forever to wire in. Once he gets that hooked up, I'll go out and cut the charge loose and check out the air. What's left? Venting?
Venting, yeah.
Wow. We're getting somewhere. Then we got to go back to Erica's from yesterday because we got a call last night when we got home that her AC was on when it was shut off at the stat. So it's going to have to be a bad stat. If it's not that, it's probably a shorted wire or the Y somewhere, but I highly doubt that because I wired it, but I'm not perfect, so we'll see. Checking fan speed for cooling here. They always ship high speed on a cool tap. We got a 3-ton air, 3.5-ton dry. So we're going to drop down to the yellow wire here. Corey's changing them. There's our furnace, the 80, 17 wide, 1600 CFM. So it's a 4-ton drive. So 3-ton air, we'd like to use the blue, but heat's on blue and that usually works out pretty good. So we're just going to use the yellow for cool. Drop it down about 300 CFM from the gray there at 0.5 static. We'll check our static temperature and all that here in a bit. Okay, these are our service valves right here. This is what typically doesn't get protected when people are soldering, and the O-rings in there get compromised. So that's why we wrap these with rags. Well, this is where the refrigerant, that's how it's shipped from the factory. This holds the refrigerant into the unit, and then when we open this, we want to open the big line first, which is backwards from the direction of travel, because it travels from here to the indoor coil and then back out on the insulated line with the heat from the house. So we're going to open the big line first with this ratchet fitting, and we're going to crank it up all the way to the top, but not too tight to the top. So that's right in there. And here it's starting to go through. We open that one all the way. And now we do the little guy, put our caps on, and then we'll fire it up and do our checkout. This job has a TXV metering device, so we charge by subcooling method, which is the temperature of the high side with our refrigerant, which is 410A, and you can see that's 80 degrees there on the pink. So we're supposed to have 11 degrees subcooling according to that. So we want to be about 69 degrees here. So we have to add refrigerant to that temperature of the line. It's 11 degrees below that. So this will typically go up as you add refrigerant. We're going to add some through the suction side by cracking this, because we got our scale there with our refrigerant. Our 410A is a blend of refrigerant, so you have to add it in a liquid, and then you use something that turns it into vapor on the other end. So that's how that works. Forgot. Looks like I forgot to open my tank. Okay, so we're adding, I'm just going to add about 6 or 8 ounces. See what happens. You're supposed to let it run 10 minutes and equalize every time you add refrigerant. Usually not patient enough for that. We end up overcharged a lot. Have to take some out. So it's best to be patient. You can see just at 6 ounces now I'm up 4 degrees, 5 degrees almost here from where I was. Almost. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep adding refrigerant until we get to our 11 degrees, and then we'll button this up and check out the furnace. 40 degrees here. Now anytime your suction pressure is down around that 30 degree mark, 32, you're in a freeze up scenario, which means you're either undercharged or don't have enough airflow. We know we have our airflow. We got plenty of pressure here. So you always want to keep your eye on that. One job from last week, I think we got a bad TXV, so I'm waiting for it to heat up to make sure it wasn't just a low heat load. And we're going to go back there and check it out on a warmer day, but I'm pretty sure we're going to be changing that coil out, because we put that bulb in a glass of hot water and we got no movement out here. It didn't start feeding refrigerant. Pressure stayed the same, so you always got to keep an eye on that. but many things can cause low suction. You can have dirt in the egg coil, dirty air filter, so you don't want to start loading up something with refrigerant without checking. You know, your subcooling will typically tell you if it's charged right. So if your subcooling's, you know, 8-10 degrees over here, difference between that pink number on the high side minus that, you got 8-10 degrees there, and you got low suction, you probably got low airflow or something else going on. It's static with that yellow speed. You got our static pressure tips, one in the blower compartment, one before the coil. And 1 point, yeah, it's right around 1.05. I'm going to try and drop that cooling speed down to the blue, which is where heat is now, and see if the heat can run on the next speed down. Otherwise, we'll have to couple them together and run both on blue. So I'm going to drop that and see what it does to that static. Okay, so we dropped that fan speed down to 3 tons of air, 1185 CFM. That saved us about 0.2 on our static. Still high, probably short on return. What should happen is we should add some return, maybe through this wall or something, to help out with the high static here. Heating should be lower. If the temperature rises and too high, that'll be perfect. Okay, we've got about 9.5 degrees subcooling right now. That's at 88, and this is 78.7. So the book says within 5 degrees. And the last thing you want to do is overcharge one of these 410A systems. So we're going to call that good. 79. Yeah, this is almost up to 9. So we got about 10 degrees and we were shooting for 11. So that's going to be close enough. I'm going to button this up, and Corey's in there venting. We're going to hack that mess off that he's working on. That's our exhaust pipe. So we'll do our normal carrier termination here, which is elbow down here. That's got to be 12 inches from the ground. So that's real close to that already. So we might have to do a gooseneck up and then down. That has to be 12 inches from our exhaust, which is this one. So our normal carrier exhaust is, or day and night, ICP, Bryant, whatever you're doing, elbow up and out. And then this has to be 12 inches from that so it doesn't recirculate and freeze up the intake. So we'll fix that ugly mess that somebody put on 25 years ago and make it look pretty. Poor water heater's still going to be ugly. And fresh air intake's right there, so I believe we only have to be a foot from that. Whatever it is, it's going to have to be good enough. It's wrapped. Locking caps are on, ready for the inspector. It's done with PVC. We got to do our drain on the bottom of that intake. We always put a drain on that now because that takes in water in the summer on some jobs for some reason. Who knows why? And then I gotta get some support on here every 4 feet at a minimum. So I'll throw some plumber strap on there, probably one here, one back there somewhere. I was heading in to clean up these vents here and terminate them properly. And look who's underneath there. He's pretty serious. You need to move out of there, buddy. I got work to do in here. What do you got, some leeches on you? Darn leeches, huh? Wow. I gotta get in here and do some work, man. Can you move out, please? You kind of make me nervous. Can you get up out of there? Not gonna move, huh? I'll have to get some gloves on and grab you out of there. Throw you back in the swamp. It's a wrap. We had a high temp rise, so we had to couple the heat and the cool on the same speed there, which is right around that 1185 CFM, I believe. So they're both on the blue tap right now. Yeah, it's 1185. And then we got our combustion analysis. Set the gas pressure, temp rise, 58 ppm, CO air free. Done deal. We got our one pipe turned into a two pipe. We got our 12 inches from the window, fresh air intake right into the burner compartment. It looks a lot better than that thing they had hanging off the side of the house like this water heater. I wonder if my turtle's still out here. Don't see him. Must have took off. But boy, you could walk up on one of them guys and he would, man, he could have taken my finger off easy. Hopefully he made it back. I threw him down about right there. Nice day.